As you learn about the narcissistic pattern, it's also wise to reflect on the much healthier alternatives. Now, below you're going to find a link to my new extensive course called Ready, Set, Connect. It addresses both the mindset and the skills involved in gratifying relationships, and I hope you'll find it to be quite therapeutic. I've had countless conversations with individuals who've had many difficulties due directly to their interactions with strongly narcissistic individuals. Now, the bottom line is we cannot eliminate or completely discount a narcissist's negative impact on our quality of life. There they are, and sure enough, they can indeed create pain and strain. Now, they have a strong desire to stay in the superior position, which means that they want you to be in that lower down position. But I wonder if we can decide, we're going to turn the tables on that. It's not enough just for you to say, I need to get away from that. But I'm hoping that as you examine carefully who these individuals are, what their makeup are, and what drives them, you can come back with the notion that says, I can do better. I have a much more cleanly designed idea of how things can be, and I'm going to lean into that, and I'm going to take my experiences that I've had with those narcissistic individuals and turn it into a resolve to become a stronger individual. Can you think like that? That means you would be in a recovery mode, and I'm hoping that you can indeed recover from some of the negative impact that these narcissists have projected onto you. Now, what I want to do is I want to focus on 10 strong indicators that say that you are indeed in your recovery mode. And I want to take some of the primary characteristics of narcissism and flip them upside down to see if we can figure out what that would look like. You with me on that? Now, the first thing I want to emphasize, number one, is that you know that you're in a strong recovery mode when you can be honest about who you are. Let's remember that narcissists build their persona upon a false self. They're highly pretentious. They want to give the impression that they're far more together than they really are. On the inside, they have a lot of chaos. They don't trust people. They have a lot of defenses and fears, but they want you to think, no, they're the gold standard. I'm hoping that as you are in your sense of recovery, you can decide, I don't want to live behind a false impression that says everything is wonderful and perfect in my life, because it's not. You can be aware of your own combination of pluses and minuses, and as you have a calm honesty about who you are, then it allows you to lean into whatever is required then for you to have an ongoing growth. You cannot have growth, you cannot have recovery without first committing to true honesty, starting with yourself and starting with who you are and what your tendencies are. Now, having said that, number two that illustrates that you're in a growth or a recovery mode is that as you seek growth, you don't seek perfection. Let's understand you will never be a finished product, and that's to be expected. We're each a combination of highs and lows and pluses and minuses, and just when you think you have things figured out, you realize that there's more for you to learn. Narcissists cling to an idealized version of how life is supposed to be, so much so that they become angry when they don't get their way. I'm hoping that you can decide, I am going to continue to seek my better version of myself, but I'm not going to be shocked either when imperfection comes along. I accept me in total, pluses and minuses. Okay? A third indicator that you're in a recovery mode is that you're anchored in objectivity. In other words, you're able to weigh facts and circumstances with reason and logic. There's one phrase that I want you to listen to as you think about how you respond to the narcissist, and that's the phrase, I can't believe that person would be so mean, or I can't believe that they're so stubborn or so pig-headed. Well, you know what? The objective person says, I can believe it. I'm anchored in facts, and the facts are that even though my emotions can get triggered. The bottom line is that's who's in front of me, and I need to be very clear about what I'm dealing with. In other words, you can have your emotions, but your emotions do not guide you. A certain amount of factual weighing of what's correct and what's incorrect is what guides you in the way that you engage. Now, a fourth indicator that you're in a good recovery mode is that you're focused on your own personal boundaries. Now, when you know that as I talk about boundaries, what I start with is you have a very strong definition of who you want to be. The traits you want to have predominant in your personality, the circumstances in which those traits can be applied. You can have more than just impulsive reacting. There's a sense of intentionality. Now, you know that narcissists will run all over your boundaries, and they'll say, well, I don't respect how you define yourself. But as you maintain your boundaries, it's like, yeah, I realize that in objectivity. But the bottom line is, you see, you don't define me. I define myself, thank you very much, and I'm going to go ahead and live according to what makes sense to me. And as the narcissist attempts to run all the way through your boundaries, it's like, that's your prerogative, but I'm still going to be true to who I am. That's the beginning point of staying focused with your boundaries. Now, a fifth indicator that you're truly in a recovery mode is you have a very minimal need to defend yourself. Recall that one of the defining features of narcissism is a very powerful need to put up walls of defense. They can be very offensive in the way that they engage with you because they want to keep you in that guarded kind of mode, but that's because they don't want you to have to start looking on the inside of them. Actually, their life is so defined by cover up and then exploitation. I'm hoping that you can decide, I don't have to justify who I am. I don't have to cover up who I am. And if somebody comes along and says, I don't like what you're doing, as opposed to being defensive, I can say, well, okay, talk to me about it. And you can listen, you can hear, and there's a flow of information that can come back and forward between yourself and other individuals. Narcissists, in their very thick walls of defensiveness, they can't do that. Now, a sixth one, and with my deep history of working with anger management kinds of techniques, this is a big one for me, and that is that you're in a good recovery mode when your anger is tempered by decency. Looking at narcissists, you'll realize they have lots of anger, and the anger tends to be highly aggressive. And when I say aggressive, it cuts against what's right and good for you. Sometimes it's overtly aggressive, sometimes it's passively aggressive, but either way, they want to run you into the ground as they try to get their anger out of their system. You too can feel angry, but I'm hoping that in your anger you can decide, well, I'm going to take the assertive path. I'm going to go ahead and stand up for who I am and have a real strength about what I intend to do and how I tend to live my life. But it's going to be guided by higher priorities than just pure destruction. Anger can coincide with dignity, respect, and civility. A seventh indicator that you're in a good recovery mode is you know how to be right. Let's keep in mind that narcissists must be right, and they're highly controlling and critical and nitpicking, but they do so in a real authoritarian kind of way. It's like, hey, look, I'm the one who decides the ultimate correct versus incorrect. I need to give you mandates as to how you're supposed to live. I'm hoping you can decide, well, I have my own ideas of what I think is right and wrong, but I want to make sure that my sense of correctness is anchored in choice, not mandates. I'm going to be right, but I'm going to do so in such a way that allows for a flow of collaboration between one individual and another. And an eighth way that you can see that you're in a healthy recovery mode is that you can remain as a pleasing person without being an appeaser. You don't want to be a pushover. And frankly, when you go too heavily into an appeasement mode, okay, I'll do whatever you need to do to get you off my back. There's an element of dishonesty there, which goes against number one of what I mentioned. Narcissists do want you to serve them. And it's okay to be pleasing and serving up to a point, but they want that as part of their defining feature. You exist to make me look good. I'm hoping you can have compassion. I'm hoping you can enjoy how to harmonize with other individuals without losing yourself in the process. A ninth indicator that you're in healthy recovery is you can turn the narcissist contempt into self-care. You'll notice that so many times narcissists will have this, "Oh, I can't stand you," and this resentment or bitterness or hatred toward you. And as you watch that, you realize that's a real ugly way to live, and it's actually quite pitiable. But that's what defines them, their contempt and their bitterness. I'm hoping you can say, "I see that, and I can do better. I'm going to do the opposite. You hold contempt. I'm going to have self-care, and I'm going to have self-love." And then a 10th indicator that you're in a truly healthy recovery mode from the narcissist is that you seek wisdom. And when we talk about wisdom, we're not talking about just gathering data or knowledge about whatever topic, but you gather data and knowledge for the purpose of leaning into the greater good of the community in front of you. Narcissists want you to stay as a reactor. They like to be the one that calls the shots, and when you're just bouncing off of who they are and just constantly responding to whatever it is they have going on in the moment, all they care about is they've got you going. And I'm hoping you can decide, I respect myself way too much to deny my own personal strengths and capabilities. When the narcissist comes at you, once they figure that that's where your thinking is, with the notion that says, "Well, I don't respect you," my response, I'm hoping your response is going to be, "I know that. And I mean no offense, but I think you're totally off base." When someone has to build their sense of well-being by destroying the goodness in another individual, they clearly don't get it. And I'm not going to waste my psychological energy trying to reform someone who's so openly misguided. I'm hoping you can put your psychological energy into the notion that says, "This is me, this is who I am, and I know that much good is going to come from me as I live into my authentic self." That's what recovery looks like. And I hope the videos such as this can give you some good motivation to truly lean into your own personal growth. If you haven't already hit that subscribe button, I would encourage you to do so. We're going to keep more videos coming towards you. I hope as you watch them in a cumulative kind of way, it can help you along your growth trajectory. Thank you for letting me be a part of that, by the way. Also, I know that when you're trying to deal with things like that, it could be helpful for you to have the assistance of a seasoned therapist that can guide you. You know that I've been sponsored for years by the people at BetterHelp.com. There's a link below that will take you to their website. And if you have a need for therapy, I would strongly encourage you to go in that path. Ever since the pandemic, we've learned that online therapy can be quite effective. It's affordable. It's accessible. Please seek the help that you would need if that's something that you know is warranted. Likewise, I have my therapeutic courses, and these are like signing up for an online class. Each course has multiple videos, like 25 or more, with written documents per video and guided questions. We have Ready, Set, Connect about making good connection skills. This is me about having your boundaries free to be, finding yourself despite those controllers. In addition to that, we have my webinars. We have that have already been presented. You can find them on our website. We have the website has plenty of articles, our Surviving Narcissism podcast, my books, lots of resources. I'm hoping that as you learn about the narcissistic pattern, it's more than just an intellectual exercise. I'm hoping it's an exercise that says, I'm going to strengthen my internal resolve to be my best version of myself, and that's what the recovery process is all about. Know that I'm pulling for you. We have a community here with our Team Healthy on the Surviving Narcissism channel. And I'm hoping that you can take the information that you're gleaning and turn it into a sense of steadiness that's ultimately going to allow you to be more and more of a person of peace.